One of the great strengths of our program is our focus on individualized mentorship. We try to identify the areas of interest of our incoming fellows even before they get to UNC and point them towards potential mentors. And once they get here, we work with them to determine how they see their career unfolding and what components of our program can be of greatest use to them in preparing for that career. And we realize that sometimes folks come into fellowship not quite knowing exactly what they want to do, or not yet having identified a mentor because they want to work with people and get a sense of the landscape before they select a mentor. And so we have assigned our incoming fellows, faculty advisors who work with them from the time they arrive at UNCID and help them to transition into ID fellowship roles, and also to become more familiar with our division, with our School of Medicine and the School of Public Health, and give them a good launching pad for the rest of their fellowship. Later on in their year, they will select their own individual mentors based on common interests in terms of content area and specific skill sets.
So there are a few things that I think really make UNC's ID experience unique. One of the most important is the opportunity for excellent mentorship. The division and also the various schools and departments at UNC have hosted ID fellows for decades. And this is really great for our ID fellowship trainees because they have access to a deep bench of potential mentors who not only have experience and standing in their fields, but they're also familiar with ID fellows and usually quite open and eager to welcome them into their groups.
One of the great things that Dr. Van Dyne has done, I don't know, we might have been the first year that they assigned a mentor out of the, like just sort of fresh out of the gate, right? And it didn't have to do with your research interests or clinical interests or anything. It was just sort of someone who had expressed interest in mentoring young fellows as they sort of develop their research and professional interests. And so having someone like that has been incredibly useful, that you really need someone to help guide you through, you know, the logistics and, you know, how do I want to get the support, or how should I frame this conversation with a colleague or a new collaborator? They want to see us not just succeed, but be happy, right? The fellowship's really hard. The clinical year is really difficult and busy. And so, you know, trying to make sure that we are well cared for emotionally and you know, mentally. And then, of course, not forgetting that part of this is developing us as physicians and scientists for a lot of us who want to stay in academic medicine. I'll also say that I think that the mentors at UNC, and particularly in the ID division, are, you know, they're busy, but they're always wanting to sort of be involved. And if they can't, they're going to put you in touch with someone who is, you know, has more bandwidth to sort of guide, you know, depending on how much handholding and sort of guidance you need for different projects and different phases of your career. So I think in general, you end up coming into a division that's supportive with multiple different mentors who are going to take over different roles as you sort of transition through these next pathways.